honestly, I saw this UFO and it appeared out of nowhere and then disappeared into nowhere. Or people say, oh, I saw this entity at the end of the bed and it kind of just appeared out of nowhere and then disappeared into nowhere. And what's the response of people who are kept in ignorance of reality? It's you're mad, mate. What you've been drinking. But it's perfectly explainable. Because what happens is when something enters visible light from outside, from another band of frequency, to the observer, in the band of frequency, the only thing it can see, it's appeared out of nowhere. And when it leaves this visible light band and goes elsewhere, to the observer, it's disappeared into nowhere. But it hasn't. It's just entered and left the band of frequency that you can see and observe.
How is that, David? See, when someone says you're crazy or this, because a lot of people are waking up and questioning a lot more in life. Life is full of static. We've got vaccines, we've got the schooling system, we've got noise, we've got entertainment, we've got porn, we've got alcohol, we've got drugs now, we've got social media, so it's hard to really get to the source. But there is people waking up, and when you start questioning it and people try and tarnish them and call them crazy, what's the best way to handle that when... Even with lockdown, there was only a very small percentage went against the grain and questioned it. Wait a minute, you wear a mask, you get these vaccines, you get this booster, but you can still get this so-called killer disease. But when people question it, it is scary for people to talk about the stuff that you're talking about or just question why. Like, how difficult, and what should people do when they do get targeted for being crazy, just for questioning on?
Well, COVID was a wonderful example of all that I'm saying. Because people are kept in ignorance, and they are kept in a state of inadequacy, feeling inadequate. And so they look to the experts to tell them what to think. Now, these experts in these various institutions are paid often high salaries as long as they repeat the narrative that's coming out of authority. So if you were a doctor during COVID and you spoke out that the whole COVID thing was a hoax, which it was, you were out the door. You weren't a doctor anymore. And many, many people experience that. If you were anyone in the system during COVID that spoke out against it, if you were a teacher or an academic or any of them, you were out the frickin' door, right? So there was a phrase a long time ago, which was basically, if your income depends on something, you are likely to agree with it. You are likely to say it's true when your income depends on you saying it's true. So you've got all these so-called experts, and all they're doing is repeating what they're told the party line is. So doctors went with the fact that the fake vaccine, which wasn't really a vaccine under previous criteria, that it was safe and effective. None of them knew it was safe and effective. But the line was, it was safe and effective. That's what they were told to tell people, so they did. And now you've got the population, and the great vast majority of them are looking to experts to tell them what's going on. And what they're doing, the experts, are telling them what's going on according to what they're told is going on. And so when they said there's a deadly virus, which there wasn't, then people believe the experts who said there was a deadly virus. When they said, and to save yourselves from the deadly virus, you've got to have this fake vaccine, they overwhelmingly had the fake vaccine because they feared the consequences of not having it, and also the pressure of you're going to lose your job if you don't have it.
You can't travel.
Yeah, you can't travel, you can't do anything. And what people like me did from the start was say, I don't buy it. So, Mr. Experts, I don't believe you, because I know that you're just repeating what people in the shadows are telling you to repeat. And so I started questioning it, and I started researching it and uncovering it. And before very long, it was in very early April of 2020, I realized that the whole thing was a hoax to the point where there was no virus. It didn't exist. And that the whole scam was designed to get the content of the vaccine they were planning into as many people as possible. So because my knowledge, because of that research, was expanded on what was happening, I didn't follow lockdowns. I didn't have the jab. I didn't wear a sodding stupid mask. I didn't do any of it because I was aware that it was nonsense. And I had enough self-respect to say, I'm not going along with the nonsense just because you're intimidating me. I'll tell you a quick story. I must have been one of the first people who was subject to the mask mandate in Britain, because I'd done an interview in London, and I was coming back to the Isle of Wight, and the Isle of Wight ferry came in just before midnight, and the mask mandate started at midnight, right? So it's a car ferry, but I'm on foot. And so I stood there, and I'm watching these people walk off the ferry without masks. And then I walk on the ferry just before midnight, and this guy hands me a mask. He says, you've got to wear a mask. I said, I'm not wearing a bloody mask. So I walk on, and I go into the lounge, and because it's like, oh, it's a deadly virus, everyone's in their cars, right? No one's leaving. I'm in the lounge on the boat on my own, nobody with me, with this mask that I've been handed. And then about halfway across, the captain came down, and he said, yeah, I can understand why you won't wear a mask when you're the only one in the lounge. I thought, oh,